Good morning and welcome, everybody across time and space. Hello, my beautiful, radiant beings, all and everyone. It is I, Silvia, coming to you live from beautiful Eastbourne by the Sea on this beautiful spring day. And I am very excited about our topic today. I am really looking forward to getting into this. Before we start, I'd just like to say a wonderful special good morning to Carol, Ilka, and Marianne. It's delightful to have you here with me, supporting my endeavor to make the world a better place, one human being at a time. Oh, so I've themed myself for the stars. Good morning, Alex. Hello. Lovely. Yes, I've themed myself for the stars. I've got my little mirror man to help me through as we are going to be talking about the meaning of life today. That should be an interesting discussion and an interesting thing to be doing. I'm very excited. We have started with starmatrix Pro today. That is going to be definitely a topic for another Sunday Live. I am quite set on disrupting psychology. That's a good title. And my reasons for this, I would like to publicly state at one point. But that's not why we're here this morning. We are here this morning to have a good time with energy and do something wonderful. So good morning, Ravensweaver. Hello there. Haha. Okay. Now, I have been told by a loyal viewer that they would like to start the energy show with some energy raising. And as I'm always happy to respond to requests, as long it's within the realms of reason, I would like to point out, reasonable request. It is a reasonable request that we should start by raising a little bit of energy. And so what I'd like to do this morning is just simply ask you to tune in on the many colorful stars behind me. If you like to do that, you can do that in the heart position. If we have some new visitors who don't know what that is, you just point to the place where you would say, that's me, that's I. And you place your hand over that spot. That's the heart position. When we do that, we bring mind, body, and spirit all into the same space at the same time. And doing the same things at the same time. And that in and of itself feels always rather good. So if you'd like to join me, take a deep breath in and out. And enter into that space, that starry space of pure thought. Yes, the realm of thought, where our thoughts are completely free, where we can think of anything and just think about that for a moment. What an extraordinary gift that is that we hold. That we can think about anything we want to, at any time, anywhere. Doesn't matter where we are, doesn't matter where we go. We can take a moment, even imagine assuming the heart position, and say to ourselves, well, what would I like to think of right now? And today, this morning, here, right now, I am inviting you to think about those wonderful, starry, colorful stars that you can see in the background picture here behind me. And perhaps, engage with that in a way. I had a star event when I saw a Hubble picture, and I thought those were stars, but it wasn't. They were all galaxies. And so when I look at my background picture, I like to think in terms of that, and what we consider to be stars, single points of light, are in fact giant, enormous rotating systems, spirals, made up of billions of stars and planets and moons and nebulae, all sorts. Wonderful. And this is the real world in which we live. These things exist, they are there. And we can tune our minds towards that if we think about the stars, the galaxy, the night sky. Just raise our eyes up for a moment. We feel the everyday burdens dropping away and we become uplifted, literally uplifted. And what is uplifted is not our physical body, and it isn't really our mind, but what is uplifted is our spirit. It raises our spirit, and we call that raising energy. The more energy you have, the more powerful and radiant your living energy body becomes. And it's like putting your heads up above the clouds, or as I had in a beautiful sanctuary experience, it's like finding that you've been lying face down in a puddle and all you've seen were these brown streaky things and a little bit of sort of gray-green stuff. And then you raise your eyes up out of the puddle, you sit up, and there all of a sudden is the entire world, including the cities of people. And it's that is uplifting. That is what enlightenment is. It's when that happens, when you realize that the puddle isn't all there is, and lying face down in a puddle and thinking that that's reality. It's not. We can actually raise ourselves up and lift up our eyes, our consciousness, our thought, expand our minds into that glorious space where we are truly free to think what we want to think, to imagine what we want to imagine, to have sentience. That's a glorious thing. And let us remember this in the coming weeks, in the coming days, in the coming months, that we can do that at any time simply by just stopping for a moment. Heart position or not, I would just raise your eyes to the sky. And remember that above the clouds, the sun always shines. And if you go a little bit higher still, there are the stars. Go a little bit higher still, there are the galaxies. And that is just amazing. And all of this, all of this is an expression of a system that I call the great creative order. All those galaxies, all those stars, they're not flying about randomly and colliding with each other and going here, there, and everywhere in a random fashion. There is an order to things, a deep structural order. And that is what creates reality. There really is this deep structural order outside any one human being upon which we stand, upon which we rest. It is very fashionable at the moment to say that, oh, we're living in a projection and we're living in some sort of craziness. And this is very true. I mean, human beings have the ability to create these bizarre projections and then go and live in them. And the way I like to see this is that the more painful and stressful it is to live in a projection, the further away this projection has become from the actual great creative order which underlies it all and which gives us this platform to go and play and do these weird things and experiment with them. So that's where we're coming in on this beautiful morning. So that's where we're starting. See, I um, believe, I know, there is a great creative order. There is an underlying structure that binds not just the universe, that binds the multiverse. And I am reminded of this all the time in various ways. I'm reminded of this, for example, when I see a seashell, the spiral in a seashell. It's not random, it's not zigzaggy, it's a spiral. Or a young fern leaf. Or even the clouds in the sky. They seem to be all different shapes and completely random, but they're really not. They're really not. They are just reacting to the winds. And whether it's day or night, and, how our planet turns, what sun flares are happening. There is an order to things. And I would love it if you were to take a moment and think about the moments when you know there's an order to things, when you remember it. What causes you personally, to go, oh yeah, I remember now. There is an order to things. There really is a great creative order. It's not just all human madness, crazy Muppets dancing around. The shadows on the wall from the old philosophers. There's something upon which we all walk and stand, and which gives us the platform to create our various illusions from. The great creative order. I'm reminded of this when I see raindrops in the grass or on a bush. I call those my daily diamonds. The sun strikes them and they're sitting there in their drop shape. Again, they're shaped like a drop. They're not all spiky and weird and wibbly and all sorts of different shapes and sizes. They are perfect in their shapes. And then the sunlight lights them up, and that interacts with my neurology as a human being. And I'm enlightened by that, and I'm inspired by that, and I react to that. And I say and look at that, and I said, oh, it's beautiful. This is so beautiful. I was made by the great creative order in every which way you want to think about this. I was made, and you were made, to look at certain things and have certain reactions to that. Naturally be inspired by beauty and structure. And those things that remind us of not just the awesomeness of the great creative order, but the beauty that resides there. It's such beauty. Such beauty. Oh, so what is it that what reminds you of these things? I got raindrops on blades of grass, sparkly bushes. That does it for me every single time. And of course, snail shells, clouds and ferns. What do you look at and get that sense, get that connection with the great creative order? Now, somebody said that, like, literally that song, I think to myself, it's a wonderful world. Laughter of children. Unfolding rose. Ocean waves. Yeah. The ocean waves loving the shore. It's beautiful. And that's really where we start. This is where we start. Those moments when we can see it and know it. And the thing is, when we get stressed, we lose our ability to see it. Under stress, our conception, it just shrinks down and it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller until we live in a conceptual prison where the only thing that's important is what some person said on Twitter. That's life-changing in some way. And that we need to react to that by being triggered and screaming and running around like headless chickens. Let's have a look. Oh, Alex says, an answer to the question, what connects you with the great creative order directly? He says, spider webs with water drops glistening in the sunshine always gets me. Totally on board with that. I have taken so many photographs of those, and to celebrate those of the amazingness of that. There's these animals too involved now, animals who make these beautiful, perfect webs. They're also not all higgledy-piggledy like modern art in the art museum where people are just going and throwing crap at the walls. There's a pattern, there is a logic, there is a beauty in that. And so, yes, Alex, I'm 100% on board with that. That's a really good one. See, Ilka says, the sparkle of the ocean. Oh, yes, yes. When or a big lake, when the sun is just right, and you're looking at this, and it is just it's an ocean of light. Totally, yes. Absolutely, 100%. And see, this thing that we are attracted to sparkles, this is, where does that come from? Why are we attracted to sparkly stuff? Well, I could say that if you are a person walking around in a savannah, the sparkle tells you there's water, and water is life, and it's important for us to move towards that. And so we could say that's why we're attracted, naturally, neurologically attracted to sparkly things. And now, so some dour creep might come along and go, yeah, it's only a neurological function. Yeah. This is, so what? It's a neurological function. It causes us to look at things in the environment and think, oh my God, there is order to this world. I myself might be in chaos. I myself might be crazy. But the world itself, reality, real reality, what I call reality absolute, has order. Not just a dour, nasty order, but a beautiful order, of which I am clearly a part. And that's why I'm responding to these things with awe and amazement and feeling soothed and healed and uplifted and not so alone anymore. It's soothing to know that there is this great creative order. And even more soothing when each one of us gets round to accepting that we are actually a part of this. That we are not a part of the great creative order. We belong in it. We are loved by it. We are held by it. We are welcomed by it. Every breath we take, we are supported by the great creative order. We are made by it, constructed by it. I heard the other day somebody saying that 200,000 years ago, aliens came down and they messed with our genetic material. And that's why we are the human beings we are today. interesting idea. But then again, the aliens are also part of the great creative order, and they just played with building blocks. So you can't get out of it. We belong to the great creative order. And everything we construct also belongs to the great creative order. We're not a part of it. We're not apart from it. We are inside of it. We are it. Great creative order is us, and we are the great creative order. Ilka has another thing, flowers. Yes, all kinds of flowers. They're just wonderful. And not random again. They are so structural, so complex. This is structural complexity in a dandelion. The structural complexity in a dandelion is mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. Oh, man. To think that any human being ever thinks that they can do better than the great creative order astonishes me. It really does. It astonishes me. It's a weird kind of delusion to think that computer programs can do better than the great creative order. Amazing. Springtime with everything in it. Yep. Yes. The miracle of the blossoms and the miracle of the fine little green leaves and yes. Okay. So now we have a concept of something. We have the great creative order. We have the fact that we are a part of it. We have the absolute fact that we human beings become uplifted and inspired by interacting with the great creative order. We catch glimpses of it. So now we need to answer this question quickly now. What's the meaning of life? Well, I will answer this right now. The meaning of life is to create or have as many star events as possible. There are schools of thought that hold that the meaning of life is suffering. We need to learn lessons by suffering. And the more we suffer, the more we learn lessons. I really don't know where that came from or why that was initiated, because not only doesn't it make any sense, it's also not true. We don't learn by suffering. I tell the story of some guy who comes into a forest and sees this beautiful stand of lilies, golden lilies in the sunshine. And then he goes and tramples on them and tramples them into the dirt and then points at them and says, now here is the real nature, the true nature of those lilies. And that's just not true. The true nature of the lilies is when they're in full bloom, when they're not trampled into the dirt, when they're in the best and fullest expression of what they are. That's perfection. That's the lesson. That's the nature of the lilies. So when you make somebody suffer and you beat them and you hurt them beyond hurting them and hurt them some more and tell them that it's good for them to be hurt, what you end up is what you end up with is your trampled lilies in the dirt. That's what that is. And you learn nothing from that. Nothing. There's nothing learned here other than, well, if you use enough physical force, you'd smash almost everything. You can physically break almost everything. That's one lesson. I think we all learned that as young children when we dropped a toy and it broke and we started to cry. That's one lesson. Okay, lesson learned. Let's forget about that now. The fact is that our star moments, the positive, the high positive experiences, those are the important lessons in life. The real lessons. that we need to look at and need to learn. The high positive experiences. So what I'm saying is that life isn't, the meaning of life is not to be found in suffering, and it isn't about suffering. It's about the opposite of suffering. Now, as I was thinking about this over last couple of hours, I was thinking, what the hell is the opposite to suffering? What is the opposite, direct opposite word, the antivenom to suffering, the concept of suffering? What's the antivenom? Joying? Happying? What is it? Loving? There's a word missing here that combines all of those things: joy, happiness, love, power, success, excitement, all of the things that suffering takes away from you. But we actually even haven't got a word for that anymore. The opposite of suffering. I'm going to just call it starring for now. Starring. Because, star events of love and happiness and joy and empowerment and intelligence, those star events. So that's starring. Instead of suffering, starring. So for me, the meaning of life is, first of all, to be fully expressed, like our glorious lilies. That's number one. And number two is that we are supposed to be starring. We're supposed to be learning lessons about love, humanity, connection, creative order, the complexity of intelligence and logic that you find in a dandelion. That's the lessons we're supposed to be learning here, the lessons of starring. The meaning of life is to collect as many high positive star moments as possible. That's the meaning of life, according to Silvia. That's it. Collect as many star moments as possible. What I like about that is that it doesn't matter whether you are complete atheist and don't believe in the afterlife, don't believe in the soul, don't believe in there being anything other than nothingness when we close our eyes. It doesn't matter, because if you follow the idea of the meaning of life is to have as many star experiences as possible, to collect them, literally to collect them like in a big bag, then you will have had a good life at the end of your life. You would have had an amazing life, a really good life. You'd be like, wow, what a ride it's been, what a trip. This has been awesome. You might even get round then to add on to, well, I don't really know who made it so that I should be here, and I know it's all just random chaos, but thank you. Thank you for my amazing life. That's if you're an atheist, so it works. It's perfect. Meaning of life for atheists. Collect as many high energy star moments of, joy as you possibly can before you kick the bucket. But if we look at this from a different perspective, from the perspective of the person who thinks, yes, we have a soul, and it's immortal. It survives the death of the physical body. It's a part of the energy system that isn't tied to any organ. And actually, the reason that we're supposed to be collecting these star events is because they grow and empower the soul. They are the soul's nutrition, vitamins, baby milk, if you want to call it that. Every one of them makes the soul bigger, stronger, more powerful, and makes it easier to take flight, be born, whichever metaphor you want to use, when the physical body goes down and the soul goes poof, woohoo, off I go on its next adventure on a different level of the multiverse. So if you would like to have a really cool afterlife, the advice is the same as it was for the atheist. Collect more star events. Find more star events. Understand how your star events have worked so far. Review the star events you've already had, first of all, so you understand what they are. So you don't spend an entire life running after something that you thought would make you complete, only it turns out it didn't. That's the lesson from so many old stories. Xanadu, Citizen Kane, running after objects, piling up objects and money all your life, only to lie on your deathbed and to realize that wasn't it. That wasn't what life was supposed to have been about. It was supposed to have been about the star events. The moment when a little child was given a sleigh. You know? Perfect. So that's really it. Meaning of life, collect star events. In order to understand what your star events are that you're collecting, go back and review what you've already done. And then you know consciously. Unconsciously, we keep doing this anyway. But one of the things with modern energy is we want to get mind, body, and spirit on the same page at the same time. And so what I'd like to do very much is just to just do this. Heart position or no heart position. Let's do this together. I'd like you to just remember one star event from your life. Just a moment from your life where you kind of got it. That was a moment where you got the meaning of life. Where you were so energy high that you understood it. That you literally raised your head up out of the puddle and looked up and, oh, wow, here's the whole of the universe. Here's my life. One of those moments. I'd just like you to review that moment right now. Review it. And allow the message from that moment to become loud and clear. So loud and clear that we can understand it with our mind, and we might even be able to put words to it. And these words are magic words. When I asked the question there for the memory, it's been the one that has been going through this entire energy show, was that experience when I was in sanctuary and found myself face down in the muddy puddle. And at first was really confused because all I could see was that brown writhing. What's going on here? What's happening? Where am I? And then there was this movement of raising up my eyes, blinking, and there it was. There was the bay. There was a city in the bay with colored lights. People were doing their thing. Starry sky above. Summer wind whispering in the trees. I could hear. Whereas before, under with the face in the puddle, ears full of water. There was just this going on. Could actually hear crickets, birds, sounds of the trees. It's amazing. This is one of my absolute favorite sanctuary star events. If I had to put word to it, I'd probably say something along the lines of, ah, raise your eyes, child. Well, we raise our eyes and the rest follows, you know. Oh, wonderful. Let's have a look what we have here. Ilka says, more star events we have, the higher energy states we have. So we have more energy, more evolution, more power, more health, more love, more creativity, and so on. Yes, right. The entire shopping list. The entire shopping list of what people want more of. More confidence, more resources, more friends, more love, more respect, more gratitude, more whatever. The entire shopping list gets fulfilled, near as damn it, free, when we raise energy. It reduces the entire shopping list to one single thing. How do we raise more energy? How do we particularly raise our energy average? Because we all go up and down on the energy chart like crazy all the time. We all do. Environmental stuff going on with us, health stuff, all sorts of stuff. Going up and down all the time. It's the energy average over time that makes the huge difference. And this is, how do we raise our energy average? Oh, I think starmatrix is the way. Starmatrix is the way for so many things. But definitely learning about the star events. And see, so the meaning of life, globally speaking, is about star events, having more star events in your life. As many as you possibly can. Because the star events of your life define your life, not your trauma, not your losses, not the times when you got beaten down or when you were in despair. That does not define your life. It doesn't flash before your eyes before you die. Your star events define your life. But your star events are not isolated. They are not isolated random things. We were talking about the structure of things. The spider doesn't make a random craziness. It makes a very structural web. And our star events, likewise, have a structure that is complex and beautiful. No one on Earth has the same star events. No one has the same star events. Just as now, very few people have the same fingerprints, only make it a lot more complex. A lot more complex and a lot bigger than that. But everybody has their own star events. And these star events are milestone markers on your journey of life. And if you want to know the meaning of your life, what you need to do is you need to connect these events. What are the messages of these events? In what circumstances are they happening? What are you learning here? This is different for every human being alive. And this is what makes this so exciting and why I'm so excited and happy to talk about the meaning of life. Yeah, for everyone, as a structure, as a deep structure, the meaning of your life, whoever you are, wherever you come from, doesn't matter. The meaning of your life is in your star moments. There's the meaning of your life, of this life. I don't know if we had lives before. Really don't know. It's this life we need to be dealing with. So the meaning of this life is in your star events. And I can't tell you what that meaning is for you. The only person who can know this is you. And the only way you can figure that out is by looking at your star events. So stop lying face down in the puddle. Stop worrying about your trauma in your life. That tells you nothing. You need to look at your star events to find your meaning for your life, for this life, right now, right here. And I honestly cannot think of something easier or more practical than that to answer that question, should it ever be asked. Okay, my friends, and I would love to just, I would love to leave you with just a little moment of enlightenment this morning, or a little moment of energy raising, of something that will make us just all happy to be here together. And okay, yeah. So many people have this thing about human beings being essentially bad. And I stand up in defiance of that. I'm saying, no, go away with your criticism. Go away with your negativity. Go away with your God-forsaken suffering. Go away with your hatred. This is not what we need to become better human beings. What we need is love, support, acceptance, more energy, more logic. And when we get that, we can do wonderful things. We are beloved children of the great creative order. And more people need to remember that. Perhaps that's the biggest awakening, that you're not part of this cancer on the earth that is destroying the environment. No, we're not that. We are not that. Let's do this. Whew. Yes. I wish with all my heart for all human beings to wake up to the simple truth that they are children of the universe, that they are unique, that they are precious, that they are beloved. This is my wish for all the children of planet Earth, regardless of their age. Unconditional for everyone. This is my wish. And so I'd like to end with giving humanity a round of applause, and I'd like you to join me in this. Well done, human beings. You have survived ice ages. You have survived cataclysms. You have survived famines, and you have survived wars, disasters, insanity. Oh, so many things. And you are still here. And you are still fighting on. You're still trying to love and live the best life possible. And you're still here collecting your stars. Well done, humanity. Well done. And I am proud to be a part of you. I think that needs to be said much more often. Much more often. Much more often. So, my dear, radiant, shining beings, I want to thank you so much for having been here with me this morning and for us together to discuss the meaning of life. And I am just pleased that I found a nice, logical answer to that question. What is your meaning? What is the meaning of life in general? And what is your meaning of your life in particular? And how we get to find that out. And in so doing, stop it with the human self-mutilation and start celebrating the extraordinary human beings by design. We have an amazing physical body. We have a beautiful mind. And we have an astonishing living energy body. We are radiant, multidimensional beings, alive in the oceans of energy, and our happiness matters. With lots and lots and lots of love from me to you, have a fabulous week. Remember to raise your eyes. Remember to look for the beauty. Look for the beauty and it will find you. It will find us. And I look forward to seeing you for next week's energy show, Sunday Live, 10 a.m. UK time, right here, right now. Lots of love from me. Bye-bye for now.